Hi everyone, welcome back to No Sugar with Everything Krause. That's all we have for you. I don't think either of us have it in us to sing it from the rooftops.
I think we're both.
That's it. Anyway, since this episode is coming out after, we hope everyone had an amazing Easter. Everyone who celebrates, I I love Easter. I think it's an amazing time, and it feels like spring. And also, as I'm getting older, I'm appreciating the holiday for what it actually is and what it means. You know, growing up, it's just like candy and Easter baskets. I don't actually know what it means that like Jesus is risen. So
Yeah.
now I feel like all of us, like as in our family, have such a true appreciation for it and love for the meaning behind Easter. So I feel like this year was really special in that way for me personally.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a different lens when you connect with God on such a different level that I look at like the sacrifice Jesus made as like such I take it so personally as like wow, like thank you. Like I literally am so grateful that the whole Holy Week, like Good Friday until Easter Sunday is so beautiful. Like the meaning behind it is so beautiful. Like I I was bawling. I was bawling on Holy Thursday in mass. Our whole family went to church on Holy Thursday and I just was so moved by the readings because it was just like reiterating what I already knew, which was that Jesus was about to die on the cross for us. And it was just so beautiful to me because the reading is all about how he washes the feet and how this master was serving his followers. And I was just like, overall, was just overwhelmed with emotion. And I'm like, it's crazy that that's how I feel about Easter now. I would have felt that way. Like, I don't know if I felt that way last year at Easter. I don't think you
Yeah,
even
I
really paid
know.
attention to it.
I know. I don't know if I did either. So I really just loved it and enjoyed it this year. And of course, our mom outdid herself and cooked amazing food and just made the house amazing, the flower arrangements, all of it. So that was very special. And she sets the bar extremely high for us. Um, I don't know how the heck we're going to ever do what she does and what Aunt Pam does, but all of our aunts and uncles do for holidays. Like each person in our family outdoes themselves no matter what they're hosting. Like whether it's from a Super Bowl party to Easter or Christmas, it's like everyone truly does pop off. So
It's always a shebang, even like a birthday party.
yeah, I
Like Aunt
know.
Pam was talking about hosting a dinner for Nelson's birthday. I'm like, oh my God, you know it's going to be a full on
Yeah,
course meal. Like it's going to
we'll
be
probably
crazy.
have nameplates.
But that's what I love about our family. I honestly can't wait to continue that. Oh, also
Mm-hmm.
speaking off of that, I can't wait to continue the Easter traditions. That's also what I really have come to appreciate as we get older. We share on EK a lot with you guys, like the Easter panettone, our dolls, pizza piena. I can't wait to have our own family one day and be making
Mm-hmm.
that. Like that just fills me with so much joy, and it's so crazy that we still do those traditions to this day. And I'm like,
I
oh
know.
man.
Like
But
mom hasn't had a Good Friday go by where she hasn't made dolls and the panettone and the pizza piano, like all of that every single Good Friday for mom's entire life. And now our entire life has been centered around that. So that's a
crazy.
really awesome feeling. And I just look forward to it every year. So now you're right. Like as I get older, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to do this with my kids. So, kind of getting into our episode today, which isn't necessarily like planned about what, no, no, no. So, kind of going off of that and into our episode today, leading into this past week, we were away on our cousin's bachelorette, which we did mention, and it was in Charleston. So cool to experience Charleston. Neither of us have ever been there, so that was really awesome. But we were there from Saturday, yeah, Saturday to we came home on Tuesday. And I feel like we both kind of were like thrown off a lot when we got home.
Yeah.
And it's always moments of like these weekends of partying that I'm just reminded of like how much I dislike drinking and that feeling, like that hungover feeling and the lack of motivation and just like the care to be healthy like takes over you when you're drinking. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just reminded so much how much I actually hate it.
Well, and I feel like these bachelorette weekends are like sometimes you go and you're like, oh yeah, I'll have a night out. Like these bachelorette weekends are like the opposite side of the spectrum of us. So it's like we go from like not drinking to like not eating any processed foods, like not intentionally, just like living our normal life, to like going on these full blown weekend crazy trips of like bachelor, get hammered, eat however you eat. You're at bars, you're at this, like you're not paying attention
Mhm.
to anything almost because you're just trying to have fun. And I feel like it was so like shocking to us both. And like when I was taken aback when I came home, I was like, wow, I don't feel like right when I got home. I literally was like, I'm anxious. I'm like freaking out. It was like I had such post trip anxiety.
Mhm. I and I feel like going into that weekend I didn't think it was not I wasn't like wow, we're drinking a lot. It was almost just I don't know, I didn't know what to expect. They were an older group of people compared to us. Like some people those girls are 10 years older
Mm-hmm.
than me and you. So I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be like a chill weekend," and then, like, honestly wasn't that chill. It was, like, chill and not chill at the same time.
It was a blast. It was a
Yeah.
blast. I had
Oh,
so
so
much
much
fun.
fun.
Like not taking away from the weekend at all. The weekend was the best thing
No.
ever, and I would do it over all the time.
And that's the thing. It's like when we got there, I think both of us, like everyone there was just like, we're here on Alexa's bachelorette. Like, I'm going to make the most of this for
Mm-hmm.
Alexa and for everyone here. We all flew here. We want to have fun. Like, I'm gonna let loose and not worry, which was a great feeling. And I'm so happy that we like tapped into that. But on the other side of it, coming home, it's like, whoa, how the heck am I supposed to regroup here? Not beat myself up for everything that I ate and drank, not beat myself up for like not feeling like working out at all. Like, how do I kind of snap back into reality? Because we did come home on a
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday
Yeah.
and we like had to get right back into it. And then it was Easter. So we like had a lot going on with mom and the baking and the cooking. So I feel like kind of talking, I don't know, we just want to like talk about that because that's a hard feeling. And I know a lot of our listeners are in college and they have those weekends almost every weekend. And it can be hard to like snap yourself back into it
Mm-hmm.
during the week, especially.
For me, what I noticed the most when I came home, like what the biggest change in myself was, is like my anxiety was through the roof. And I'm typically, like, honestly, guys, I'm a really anxious person, but I feel like as I've gotten older and really learned myself and formed a really strong relationship with God, my anxiety is really lessened. It's still always been there, it's just who I am, but I've definitely learned how to control it. And this was the first time I feel like in a while where I came home and I was like, oh my God, like anxiety smacked me in the face. Couldn't couldn't turn to God, couldn't turn to anything, like was just like only seeing my anxiety and was only seeing the bad, I felt like. And to me it was just like, oh my God, like I was eating sugar, I was drinking alcohol, I was eating seed oils, like it was just, and I don't know if it was all of that, but that was the only change that I had made. Literally felt like shit when I got home. My mind was not right, and it was such a battle for me. And I was like, listen, like if it wasn't Alexa's bachelorette, if that were just like a weekend of having fun, like is that worth it to me? No. Like literally
Mm-hmm.
it's like you say, like it's those weekends that always remind you. It reminded me just how much I hate all that stuff because this is what it produces for me. Like it literally
Mm-hmm.
does not work for me.
Like 1,000%. Like, this is where the battle in my mind comes from of whether I want to stop drinking altogether or like have the occasional moments. It's hard to compare or like make that decision based off of like almost a weekend bender because that's not my reality every weekend at all. Like
Mm-hmm.
it couldn't be
Yeah.
farther from what I actually do. So it's easier to come off a weekend like that and be like, I'm never drinking again because the Sunday scaries were really the Tuesday scaries were so real. Your anxiety was really bad. My anxiety was bad. And we were just like, exactly what you said. At what cost? Like, is that really
Yeah.
worth it? Like, why are we putting ourselves and our bodies through that? And that's kind of where I struggle right now a lot of like, I don't know, I've always for the past year, I feel like I've been dabbling with like, do I want to try and just live a sober life? And it's never been so it's never been an issue for me to not drink. So it's not like a an issue that I have that I want to cut back. It's more so
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, if I go a month without drinking, why don't I just keep it going another month? Why do I feel the need to not feel the need, but what's the point of having one glass of wine at dinner
Mm-hmm.
to break that like complete sobriety? You know, it's like why have it? Because after like a year of not drinking, you might not even miss that glass of wine, you know? I don't know. That's just like a random thought, but it's honestly like what I've been
No, but
thinking about, especially the past week of like, I have a wedding coming up. And I'm like, I literally don't want to touch alcohol. I do not
mhm.
want it. I don't want to wake up feeling gross. Don't want to wake up feeling puffy and swollen. Like this
Well, it's like you
past weekend
almost
brought me back to college of like how I looked.
yeah. Oh my god. Oh, I was like, you don't look like that. You don't look like that. But I
No,
totally like
no.
you felt like it.
Like
And
that puff, you know, that alcohol puff everyone gets? It's like
yeah.
you
Oh,
might not notice it on me, but it's just like that inherent feeling of like I have all this fluid filling my entire face right now.
yeah. And it feels like shit.
It's
That's
awful.
honestly that's like the scariest part is like you're talking about this wedding that you have coming up, and it's like you literally can pinpoint how you're gonna feel if you do drink, and it's like that's terrible. Like I don't
Mhm.
want to do that, and it's scary to think that. Like in my head, I'm like, oh my god, like next time I drink, like I'm gonna spiral again with my anxiety, like, and that's why I'm like, I don't like that's the side effect because that really is why I don't want to drink. Like people are like, how are you so
Mhm.
disciplined with not drinking? I literally don't like how it makes me feel. Like you don't
Yeah.
want to drink at this wedding, you do not like how it makes you feel. That is a strong enough why to allow you to
Mhm.
not drink. I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm just like that's so crazy to me that you're already thinking like, oh my god, like am I gonna feel this way and this way? And it's like, ew, why are we partaking in something that's we're even asking those questions about?
I know. And I've talked about her before, but Melissa Wood Health on Instagram. She's been sober for I don't know, 4 years, 4+ years, a long time. And she is someone who's very much involved in a big crowd. You know, she's very well known. Her husband is in the hospitality industry, so he opens up these big hotels and restaurants and clubs, but she doesn't drink, which is truly amazing to me because she goes to the opening events and she goes out with her friends. And she just posts a lot on Instagram about it. Like, if you're sober curious and like interested in this lifestyle, like she goes out and gets like seltzer water with lime, or she'll even get like a ginger soda, like a
Mm-hmm.
ginger beer. And she's like, it, you know, like I don't normally drink ginger beer, but when I'm out at a club with my friends, I want to like feel something. So I get a ginger
Yeah.
beer and minus the gin and all that. And I'm like, she always posts like, oh, love waking up on this Sunday, not feeling gross from the night before, not feeling
Mm-hmm.
that alcohol anxiety and like the Sunday scaries. And like seeing her post that, I'm like, I could feel like that after the wedding. Like, I don't need, I'm only using the wedding as an example because it's like my next event to
Yeah.
drink at. And I don't know, but it like makes me scared at the same time of like, I make up these excuses in my mind that, oh, well, it's going to be like basically a college reunion. So am I really not going to drink with my college friends?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's not like I can't be around these people sober, but am I going to be influenced by what they're doing, or just, you know, the social influence of like everyone drinking? You're like, oh,
And like
yeah,
you,
I'll have a drink.
yeah, that's fun. That looks fun.
Hmm.
Like you.
And like, yes, there's nothing wrong with having like one drink. And I know myself, I could probably have one drink and be like, okay, I'm done. But then it comes back full circle. Like, what's the point
Yeah.
of the
What's the
one
point?
drink?
Exactly. It's a really hard. It's a really hard battle in my mind right now too. I would say, Kateri, because I really don't know what my thoughts are on that either. Like,
Hmm.
I feel like both of us easily could go sober. Like, I could never touch another sip of alcohol again in my life. I don't care for it. However, there are moments recently in my senior year that I feel I'm noticing that not alcohol, I'm just like allowing what I've noticed in my senior years, I'm allowing myself to be a little bit more flexible. Like you guys know me, I'm a very disciplined, hard on myself type of girl. So like I would never let myself have a drink. I would never let myself like mess up and go eat fries. Like I'm just like that, like wired. And recently I've been allowing myself the flexibility to mess up, not like mess up, but like go off my normal routine and have a glass of wine at dinner, like on a date or with a friend. And I remember I had a glass of wine on one date, and I literally was like, that was so enjoyable. I really loved it. I had a glass of wine in Cape Cod, Kateri, when you and I went, and it was
Yeah.
so enjoyable at the dinner. And I'm like, it's moments like those where I'm like, oh, it doesn't need to be cut out completely because that was so enjoyable. But then I'm like, but it also didn't like make the night. Like I didn't
Yeah.
need that for the night. So it's like I
Hmm.
could have had the same night without it. And I'm just like dabbling with, oh, but sometimes it's fun to like order a glass of wine at dinner. And I
Hmm.
literally, I don't know even know where I'm going. I just don't know what my thoughts are on alcohol these days because I
Yeah.
don't like it and I don't want to like it. But at the same time, it's like sometimes fun and that's okay for it to be sometimes be fun. But like, I don't know. Like, I literally don't know.
I think where even like hearing you talk about that, I'm like, I just don't want to put a label on myself of like, no, you're not drinking, because I feel like then it's going to feel really restrictive. And then I'm going to find myself like thinking about alcohol more than I ever have
Yeah.
before, when I'm just like, oh, sure, I'm at an event. Yeah, I'll get a glass of wine or I'll have one drink.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of go at it in that way. I don't know, like you said, that glass of dinner we had at wine that night. Glass of dinner we had
I
at
was
wine.
literally I can't wait to watch this video back because my brain was turning. I was like, what did she just say?
Turning that glass of wine that we had at dinner one night. Like you said, it was so enjoyable. We got like a nice glass too, so it was a good wine. Like it tasted good. I was good with that, and I feel like I will be good with that in the future. But I feel like where I'm going to pull back is at more like social events like a wedding or bachelorette parties, bridal showers, although I don't really drink at bridal showers. I'm just saying like any event that I have coming up,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe I don't drink at them and kind of like test my social boundaries and how I do in those settings of just like proving to myself that you can control this and still have fun.
Yeah.
You don't need to have like a couple drinks to get a buzz on. You can just have a natural buzz. And I do kind of get like high off of having conversations with people.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, I am that person, which makes it easier, I feel like, for me, because I don't need like alcohol to loosen me up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to be like that from the start. So I don't know. This is like all, I think, just me and you kind of explaining or talking it out to our listeners that like we still have this battle in our minds. Like,
Yeah.
no matter how much we want to live like a fully healthy lifestyle, we still enjoy the balance, but then the balance still kind of drives us nuts at
Yeah.
times.
And
It's like
it's
a
like,
breaking point.
do we really enjoy it? I feel like
Hmm.
is what it's at. And the reason I think we did want to talk about it also is because last time we touched on alcohol, we did that alcohol episode. It was very like health oriented in a sense where we were like, yeah, it's not worth it. And
Hmm.
I think we've both grown since then in a way that we need to be a little bit more flexible with our health. We're like, yes, our body is a temple, but we are still human,
Hmm.
and we need to allow the ripples of life to hit us because otherwise we're going to create these expectations that we never can meet or may fail to meet, and then create ourselves like setting up for disappointment. That was crazy. That was a crazy sentence. That was super long. But that's also why we wanted to touch on it, because we have grown since then, and it's hard to now have these mixed emotions on it when we
Hmm.
did think so sternly on our body's a temple and not putting that in it, and then going through all of these emotions where I don't know, like I really don't know what to say about it.
I know. So we just wanted to also like address that so that if anyone else is feeling the same way, if anyone in college or post college is listening and it's like, yeah, I'm sick of going on these benders, but like the people I hang out with do it. Like you are still allowed to hang out with those people and take a step back. Or if you are okay feeling like that, like go for it. I know I did it in college. Like I had my fair share of Sunday scaries and weekend benders. Like every weekend pretty much, and maybe that's why I'm so sick of it. It's because like I lived it
Mm-hmm.
enough. And when I get like a glimpse of it, like last weekend of like college, I'm like, bruh, keep me far away from that. Like I
I know.
coming out of that lifestyle made me realize how much like I hated that and I didn't respect myself in that lifestyle. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I didn't hate the
Totally.
people, I hated what I was doing, the choices I was making, and all of that is hindered by alcohol. So why put myself in that situation anymore?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I wanted to talk to our listeners about it because it is a common thing and I feel like it can be relatable. And if anyone like just wants to have a conversation about it, like listen to this, let us know your thoughts almost. And yeah, like just start a conversation with us because I'm open ears to like what other people do when they go out. If you are sober, like let me know what drinks you order at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just like I'm willing to have open conversations about this because I know it'll be a continuous conversation for me and you, especially.
Yeah.
Like we're young girls. I'm not making a decision now for the rest of my life, but I see myself teetering on the edge of that.
Yeah. I know. It's just so hard because then Joseph will say to us like, I want to go out in New York City. Like Joseph and Julia live in New York City, and they're like, I want to go out in New York City and go to like one of those little like cocktail lounges and like have a
Hmm.
really fun night. And I'm like, it's not even like the alcohol is making the night fun. It's just like that ambiance of like going to a cocktail lounge. Like, yeah, I want to do that too, and I want to live life. And then it's like I find myself wanting to do that, and I'm like, I don't know what the heck to do now.
Yeah,
Because, but then I'm
exactly.
like, okay, well, that's the balance. Like, I'm allowed to have one night out if that's what that is.
And the cost for that seems to be better, like going out with our siblings and enjoying that moment. Like you said, we've made it very clear, and like our siblings know we do not need alcohol to
Mm-hmm.
spice up our nights or our conversations together at all. But if we were to be able to all experience New York together in that way, like I don't have a problem doing that,
Yeah.
regardless of how I wake up feeling. Like there's certain things I'm willing to pay the price for. Alexa's bachelorette, for example, was something I was willing to pay the price for
Yeah.
because we had so much fun. And
Mm-hmm.
we can look back on that weekend and know that like Alexa had an amazing weekend and we didn't hold anyone back. We didn't hold back. And we're just like, yeah, rah, rah,
Yeah.
shots.
Beer
cute,
bonging.
cute
There's
photo of
photos
me
for
and
TikTok.
Isabel beer bonging and taking shots.
Like, we literally need to put them on Everything Krause because you guys are not going to believe your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But also going off of that, kind of, I think we just wanted to touch on alcohol for a bit, but I also want to touch on dealing with coming back from that trip because, as Kateri and I said, like, when I got back, and I know for Kateri, it was a really scary Tuesday in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had the scaries bad, and I honestly had them the next Wednesday. Like, if I didn't book that yoga class that Wednesday, like, I would have had a scary Wednesday as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to talk about like dealing with the scaries when you get back. I know we talked about like how to turn your scary Sunday around before, but this was one of the first times where I felt the scaries and I was like
Yeah.
going through the motions and was like, whoa, like literally in the like popped in my head, like, we need to bring this to the podcast. Like, how are we dealing with this?
Yeah. Because it was like we had two decisions in front of us and we were trying to choose the one to pull us out of how we were feeling almost. So when we got home, it was Tuesday morning. So which was nice because we had like the entire day, but I did not feel like doing anything. All I wanted to do was like shower and lay on the couch and binge watch TV and like not have a care in the world. But at the same time, my anxiety was creeping up and I was like, I can't do that. Like, I have to go check my emails. Like, we should work out. We need to sweat out the alcohol. Like, all these things racking in our mind. One of the things that I feel like truly helped us on that day, we decided we went to the gym and we just walked on the treadmill for 30 minutes. We did the 12-3-30, and which really like gets your heart rate up. And I feel like I start sweating a lot when I do
Mm-hmm.
that. And then after that, we went into the sauna. So both of those were like, okay, detoxing, sweating, mentally detoxing as well. And it wasn't like the most intense workout, but we still were like, okay, nice. We got up,
Yeah.
we moved our bodies, and being able to almost like reward ourselves for that, I think mentally helped us feel better as well. Like if
Yeah.
we had stayed on the couch all day and we just would have been like, oh, like we should be sweating, we should be walking. I just know the both of us, like we would have been putting out that bad energy of like all the things we should have been doing but didn't feel like doing. So it kind of just like kickstarted a way for us to like get back into routine the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday leading into the weekend.
Yeah. And I think that also says a lot about how you deal with your like how you deal with your post scaries is really individual to you, because if you are one of those people who know that you would have been laying on the couch beating yourself up for not moving, then it's probably better to force yourself to go move for a bit so you're not more scared in the like second half of the day. Because
Mm-hmm.
if we didn't have that movement, knowing us, like the scary Tuesdays would have been a way more scarier that night because I would have been like regretting that I didn't move all day.
Exactly.
So we didn't we didn't take away the relaxation. Like, we still allowed ourselves to have that slow Tuesday of coming back into it, but we didn't, do anything crazy. We just like did the treadmill and the sauna, and that was
Mm-hmm.
enough for us. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's that's really important, is like finding the balance of like what's going to work, like what's one thing that you can do that will make you feel like, okay, I still had a good day, but I still allowed myself to relax and feel lazy and indulge in this like
Yeah.
Tuesday hungover feeling.
No, exactly. Like whether that's unpacking your suitcase if you were away, or for us, movement is such a non-negotiable in our life. So for us, it was moving, or
Mm-hmm.
whether it's like folding your laundry or putting things in the washer and you can leave them in the dry, like doing one thing that you can say, like, okay, I didn't fully give in to like the laziness rut the entire day. And I was able to do like one productive thing, because one productive thing can go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
And mentally, I think we would have been so far off if we didn't have a mental win as well. And that
Yes.
came with like a physical win along with the mental win. Those really
Yes.
went hand in hand that day for sure.
Exactly. It was crazy to see that effect on each other.
Hmm. Kind of going off of that, you had mentioned it. We did have a Wednesday morning workout class I was teaching, which was like,
which was crazy.
I literally was like, I can't believe I have to. Oh, let me preface, I had 2 back-to-back classes, so I was teaching twice Wednesday morning and then again Thursday morning, so, like, I had no time to waste here. I was like, "I need to get back to it immediately because I'm not gonna go into this fitness studio and have my hangover wearing on my face because that seems pretty counterproductive here." So Wednesday morning was rough. I was so tired, but I do feel like that it's a hot room, so we got extra sweaty. No matter how much of the workout I did or you did, it just was like another mental physical check in
Yeah.
the positive column for us, which was a really good feeling. So, if you're into fitness and you're hungover or you are have the Sunday scaries and you're planning your week, like sign up for a workout class on
Yeah.
Monday. Literally.
You'll have to do
It'll
it.
get your butt out the door and hold you accountable in a way that like you telling yourself you're gonna go to the gym at 7 a.m. won't do. You know?
If that were the case that morning, we would not have gone.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
I'd have been like, I've been calling
I
downstairs as well, like 9:30, been like, oh shoot, sis, I didn't wake up. I snoozed my alarm. Like
I also need to add that I signed up for that class that Kateri taught, and my mother woke me up at 6:45, and the class started at 7. And I literally got to that studio and sat in that hot room. My eyes were not even open yet. Like
mm-mm.
so that workout class for me was like such a win when I was done, because I was like, I can't believe I just made it through that. Like,
Yeah.
holy shibits, it was crazy. I was not even awake yet. I was like
I
maybe 2 minutes
remember,
off the bed.
yeah, I had brought their yoga towels to the studio and like set up their mat and towels for them. So like I knew they weren't gonna get there crazy early because I already had done the setup. But then it's like 6:56 and I'm like, where the heck are they? I'm tracking you and mom's location. I'm like, I hope they're awake. I can't call you guys because people are coming into the studio. So I'm like just checking my phone. Next thing I know, at like 6:58, you and mom walk in and you just look at me and you're like, oh my gosh.
It was literally a crazy experience, but
Yeah,
I booked the class, so I showed up.
exactly. So that's just a good way, I feel like, to hold yourself accountable. And again, I know not everyone's going to be into fitness. I feel like if you listen to this podcast, chances are you probably are. So even if you don't normally do fitness classes, like find a studio near you and sign up for a class because it's a really good way to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like, so what should you do for Sunday scaries workout?
Well, no. But I have one more little pointer that I want to add. I don't know, we just wanted to kind of talk to you about how we were feeling.
Yeah.
We've done such heavy episodes, I feel like, recently, that we kind of just wanted to be like, this is what's on our mind, this is how we're feeling, and we wanted to bring it to you, as always. But to counter, not to sound contradictory, but it is really a balance. And I think an important thing to also remember when you get home is, yes, you do need to push yourself, but don't push yourself too much to the point where you're really beating yourself up. Because what I recognized when we came home, we had to be really kind with ourselves mentally and allow us to be okay with that lazy feeling, instead of being like, oh, like, why do I feel like this? Like, the reality of the situation was that we were drinking, we were eating, we were staying up later, we had just flown, we were in a different environment, our bodies were experiencing different things this past weekend, and it would be so wrong of us to hold ourselves to the standard of every other week when we operated differently during the weekend. And I feel like recognizing that for ourselves and understanding that we needed to be okay with our laziness and be okay with, how bloated we felt in the mirror. Like, I remember Kateri and I both caught ourselves looking in the mirror and just being like, oh, like, my body feels like shit. And we kind of looked at each other and we're like, we're allowed to feel that way. I wouldn't expect to feel great coming off a weekend like that. Like, I'm not going to feel how I feel coming off a 7-day workout week. That's just not accurate. Why would I ever feel like that? So
Exactly.
recognizing that and being okay with it and accepting it and allowing yourself to like kind of have those moments is really important as well. Because if you beat yourself up, you're doing more harm than good to yourself.
No, that is such an amazing point. Why would we expect to feel good? Like our healthy lifestyle wouldn't be worth it if we felt good coming off of an unhealthy weekend.
Yeah.
It'd be like, for what? Why are we
Exactly.
being these like healthy, disciplined, motivated people if we're gonna feel the exact way? So like, no duh, we felt worse. Like you said, it was really being able to talk each other down and that's just one of those moments where, again, I'm so grateful to have you to be able to like look at me of like, Kateri, it's okay we slept in today, or it's okay we snoozed the alarm, or we didn't go as hard in the workout and we feel more bloated because I needed someone else to remind me that like everything you just said just happened to us and we can't expect to feel 110% because
Yeah.
our bodies were not physically there. Like we have to remember to be kind to our minds and our bodies in those moments as well, because they're trying to recover. Like that feeling of like laziness and tiredness is because our bodies are literally depleted and trying to recover with
Mm-hmm.
every ounce of energy that they have. So remember that, remind your body of that and like talk to it in a kind way so like it can feel the love almost. And I know that like sounds so weird, but I feel like your body really does respond to what you're telling it. And in those moments, like it needs a little extra love
Yeah,
for sure,
it definitely does.
which is hard. Like,
It was hard to allow people who are so disciplined and I feel like fill our to-do list with like a million things. Like it was really hard to allow ourselves to relax,
mm-hmm.
honestly, and to allow ourselves to be lazy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that feeling. I don't like that feeling. I feel unproductive. I feel crazy like when I'm
It
like
was,
that.
yeah. I really even struggled a lot with like body dysmorphia aspect of it all. And I think that is I can't pinpoint it only to the weekend. That's just been like something that I've personally been recognizing more for myself that I've been struggling with over the past like month, I would say, which that's a whole nother topic that we're not going to get into. But the point of me saying that is that like, it was a choice I had to make every single day and almost like every single moment to not beat myself down because I wasn't liking how I was looking in the mirror. Like I felt like specifically coming off of the weekend, it was even more important for me to be kinder because I was not in a right state,
Yeah.
you know?
So as simple as those two things sound, I feel like it's really important to also recognize that that balance is crucial because it's not going to be one way totally lazy and it's not going to be one way totally going hard in the gym. It needs to be that balance for your mind and body to be able to recover properly. Like the mind needs to recover by not being lazy, but the body needs to recover by being lazy. You really need to find out how to balance them within yourself and make it work for you. And that's
Exactly.
how I feel like no matter what kind of Sunday scaries you get, that is what needs to happen for you.
So to sum up the entire episode, balance. Just like that weekend was
36.
balancing our lifestyles, the recovery is also balance.
Everything in life is balance.
Honestly, I'm surprised we got through the episode, people, because we like still are just like la di di la di da.
Literally la di di la di da. Like,
That's just where I'm at right now.
yeah.
I think it's like the March, April, like the blues.
It's the blues. Honestly, no sugar. Like, to not sugarcoat shit, I'm in the blues right now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
upsetting. It's just a really weird feeling and I feel like I don't know what I'm experiencing because I feel like I'm been so positive all year and I'm like, what's this weird feeling that I can't shake?
And I keep
So
telling you as well, like just embrace those emotions that you're having, let them in. And I'm kind of reminding myself of that. And it's normal to feel a little off sometimes. And
yeah.
we got to acknowledge that. Like you're not going to feel 100% all the time, even if you're not coming off of bender weekend. It doesn't matter. You might just have, what?
I
Are you
just
crying?
no.
Oh. I'm like,
About to.
do we have tears on no sugar?
I'm about to. That's how on the verge I am, no sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So we are human, just so you know that, whew, we do experience emotions. I feel like
Yes.
sometimes Kateri and I are so disciplined and so like, well, that's the point. Like it's boom, boom, boom. And we're so strict with our words that you guys may not think we're human sometimes. And we
Well, anyway, sister, go ahead. Tell them. Tell them what to do.
like, subscribe, comment, follow, interact with us, share this podcast, share it with a friend, share it with anyone who needs to hear it. Listen to this when you're having Sunday scaries. I don't care what you do, just support us. We love you. You love us. Let's share the wealth of information and make all of us better.
Yes, amen to that, sister. So thank you all for listening. We hope you all have an amazing rest of your week, and we will see you next time.